Hey everyone, it's John here from Hot Take Hockey, back with another video. Got to talk about Patrik Laine, the situation there, and that it still seems very likely he's going to get traded. So all of that in this video. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, like button, notification bell, all that good stuff. Patrik Laine, I mean, you know what? Outside of hockey, he's been struggling with a lot of mental health issues and just certain things that he's been dealing with off the ice. But ultimately, I think just making this video, it's not taking away from the fact that we're hoping Patrik Laine is getting back to himself as a person and also as a player. So for me, I mean, seeing the potential of Patty Laine through his career so far, you really want this guy to succeed. Like, we know how electric he can be at the NHL level. If he's healthy, he can be a 40 to 50 goal scorer. That doesn't come around easy, right? So if Patrik Laine was to get traded, find a change of scenery, find a new home that can be permanent this time, right? We thought Kekalainen bringing him in to Columbus, it would work. It hasn't worked. Now Don Waddell leading the charge for Columbus. He's still motivated and still confident they can get a deal done. I think Patrik Laine wants a new home. It's going to happen. So teams out there right now are Carolina, that conversation, and it's easy to talk about Carolina, right? Like him reuniting with Sebastian Aho. That makes a lot of sense. Utah's been thrown out there by Jeff Marek and a few other bigger names in hockey. When you look at the Florida Panthers, I don't think that's a scenario, even though it's been thrown out there because, again, at fellow Finn with Barkov, Florida just doesn't have the space. I mean, they would have to flip like a Rodriguez, Luosterainen, maybe one of the defensemen to even create the space for Laine, and then Columbus would probably have to retain. So not so much Florida. I see Carolina, Utah's more potentials. But more recently, teams like Anaheim have been thrown out there, like John Bucci-Gross addressed it, because fans are throwing out the idea of Zegras versus Laine. I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense, right? Like Zegras, the market in Columbus, I think that would work. And he could play center or wing. Like, he could play on the wing with Fantilli or play at the center spot and have less pressure on him. I think that could work. And then Laine playing on a top line with Karlsson in Anaheim would be electric. That'd be ridiculous. So I think that's a realistic possibility. Another realistic possibility that I saw was the Nashville Predators. And there was a Hockey News article on it, a couple people on Twitter, bigger hockey followings. Jeremy Gover, this is the shout-out on the Hockey News from It's All Your Fault podcast, so he's getting the shouts right now. The proposal was something along the lines of Cody Glass, Philip Tomasino, Dante Fabro, and Yaroslav Askarov. So for me, if it was the culmination of Columbus getting like two younger pieces from Nashville in that aspect, and that's in that deal, I think you take that if you're Columbus. I think the future has got to be past Merzlikins unless he really bounces back. Like, if Merzlikins bounces back this year, then I think you consider keeping him long term. But between Tarasov and maybe you bring in a guy like Yaroslav from Nashville, I think that could work, right? So we'll see if Nashville could be a trade target because they've really been active this offseason and they still have cap space and flexibility to make it work. And if they move contracts like Fabro and Cody Glass, that gives them even more flexibility. So Nashville for me is an ideal target. Another one is the Minnesota Wild. Frederick Gaudreau has been in trade rumors. So if you attach Freddie Gaudreau to like a first and second round pick if you're Minnesota, maybe a prospect, get Patrik Laine, maybe $1 million or $2 retained if you're Columbus, to get more value from Minnesota. So a few Central Division teams I could see on Laine, right? Like Minnesota, Nashville make a lot of sense. And then the only other team I would maybe throw out there, just in terms of past rumors, is Montreal. I think Montreal have had conversations probably on Laine, but also Zegras. So just when I talk about Zegras, talk about Laine, I think Montreal makes some sense. But if I had to do a top three right now for Laine, again, Utah's really interesting, but does he want to go there? I'm not sure. So if I had to do a top three right now, it'd be number one, Carolina. They've lost their offseason right now. They've lost scoring. They lost Gensel. They lost Teravainen. I think Laine would make perfect sense next to Aho. The only thing is, and again, I'm having them at number one, but an in-division trade might be tough for Columbus. We'll see. So number one, Carolina, just in terms of the fit. Next to Aho would be perfect, but does Columbus trade in division? So past that, my next two would be Anaheim and Nashville. I think that makes the most sense for Laine right now. Again, playing next to Karlsson in Anaheim. Nashville, he'd get a really good opportunity as well. And then joined by guys like Stamkos, Marcia, so winners in this league. I think that could do really well for his mental game as well in terms of Laine on and off the ice. So give me your thoughts, guys. I named a few other teams like the Minnesota Wild, Utah. So comment where you think Patrik Laine will end up. And again, hopefully Patrik Laine as a human being outside of the game of hockey can get back to a better mental health space for him. And just overall, I mean, if he can get back to his game and stay healthy, I mean, this guy's going to be electric again. I'm confident in that. So subscribe, like, comment, notification bell. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.